from miniaturehorsemanship.com, and today we're going to talk about feeding weanlings. I'm here with my two babies. They're about 10 months old now. This is Victor and this is Vodka. And as you can see, they are very hairy. It's the end of February here in Alberta, and this is the time of year when I most often get phone calls and emails and things from people saying, oh my gosh, I just put my hands on my baby and he is skinny. His backbone's sticking up. I can feel his ribs. I didn't know. And you can see how that could happen. I mean, look at this wool on Vodka's bum here. It's almost the whole length of my finger, how much hair he has. And that's really good. This wool is what keeps them warm in their first winter. But what we want to make sure that we are doing on a regular basis is putting our hands on our babies and making sure that they are maintaining their body condition, especially when it's been a long cold winter like this one has seemed to be to me anyway. Now, the other thing that I think really hurts people is they're told when they first get a miniature horses get fat on air. You don't ever feed a miniature horse more than a handful of hay or they'll founder. And I'm sure that's true for these people who have if their miniature horse is a middle-aged gelding who might be metabolic and doesn't have a job. But babies do most of their growing, a horse of any breed does most of their growing in the first year, 75%. And I think with many miniature horses in specific bloodlines anyway, it can be even more than that. I know many cases where a miniature horse gained over 90% of their adult height in their first year. Now they still get some more weight to that, but they're very busy growing. And growing takes a lot of energy. So they really need to have a lot of nutrition to be able to do that. We never ever want to put a young growing horse on a diet. So in that first year, they should have, you want my glove? Basically free choice hay. So these two, if they clean up all their hay, by the time I go to feed them again, I feed them more next time. They also get a complete feed, one formulated for young growing horses. So I like it to be 16% protein, and they get quite a bit. They get half a scoop twice a day for these two little guys because I want to make sure that they're getting all that they need to grow to their potential. I think we need to really be aware of that. I'd really want to spread awareness of that because it is, I think, the biggest problem people... What did my glove ever do to you, kiddos? The biggest problem that people have with their miniature horses is that they get a cute baby and then they don't know how to take care of them, and then they realize, oh my gosh, my baby was way too skinny. The other thing that I think people worry about is they think, I want to show my pretty baby in the spring. And that's fine. You do want to show your pretty baby in the spring. But the best way to have a yearling that looks good in the show ring is to have a nice, smooth, chubby weanling. We want them to have all the nutrition they need, and a fat baby is a healthy baby and is a baby that's going to win in the show ring because they'll be smooth. They won't be, gangly looking with a big belly. That's the other myth that I'd like to talk about is that a big belly does not mean that they're fat. And particularly when we're talking about a young horse, a big belly is more likely to mean that they are too thin. So if you're standing there looking out and you're thinking, oh my gosh, he's got such a big tummy, I want you to go feel their ribs, because big tummies is not indicative of a fat horse, particularly in a youngster. It usually means that they're not getting enough protein, or it could just be a symptom of malnutrition. If you think about the telethons with the baby, or the people, the young people in the world that are not getting enough food, and they all have these big distended bellies, and that's a symptom of malnutrition. While we're talking about babies, you can see they're pulling on my gloves and they're being babies. I see a lot of people that are really worried because their young horses are biting. And they might be calling this biting. I call it playing with my gloves. And I'm okay with that. Like a toddler human that likes to put everything in their mouth to explore their world that way, so do young horses. Now, if they bite me, I'm going to discourage it. But stealing my glove and playing is just being babies. That's not something that I'm going to punish. And it's definitely not disrespectful. One of my pet peeves of horse training and the things that you hear people say is that they have to be respectful. They're not being respectful if they're doing something. Horses that's not the way they think. They just act like horses. So if we're going to start punishing these poor babies for stealing my glove or being babies, acting like babies, we're not going to have a very good relationship with them. Oh, Victor took it? Oh dear. Do you need this one? No, you don't? Okay. So, we need to he treats them as babies. Like he wants to chew on me, I'm not going to let that. I'm going to rub his little nose to discourage it. I'm not going to hit him. I'm not going to make him scared of me in any way. We're just going to show him what I do like and what I don't like. Don't like biting, so I'm going to rub his face. Rub his face. And he says, well, that's not that much fun, so he's going to walk away. The other thing to talk about when we're talking about weanlings is we want them to be on a really good deworming program. In my area, that means that we deworm them every 2 months, beginning at 2 months of age, with a dewormer that gets ascarids, roundworms. So we do that every 2 months until they're a year old, and then they go on an adult program, which is routine fecal egg counts and deworming as needed, and once annual deworming. But anyway, mostly what I wanted to get into, what I wanted to raise awareness of is that young growing horses need a lot of nutrition. Young growing horses should never ever be on a diet. And in their first year with all this hair, you absolutely have to take your gloves off, put your hands on them, and feel for body condition to be sure that they are healthy, happy, and able to grow to their full potential. If you'd like to learn more, please check out my website at miniaturehorsemanship.com or my new book, The Big Book of Miniature Horses, available through horseandriderbooks.com or Amazon or wherever books are sold. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear them. Thank you.
You ready?